All right, so sorry about that. I just hit the button by accident, like an idiot. So just in case you could say, I'm not a professional. It's 12:05. I have not missed anything out of this. Right now the stock's trading at 125.11, '09. Okay, so it's starting to do what I think it should be doing. Hopefully, like I said, this once it breaks down 125, then we should start seeing some steam going down to the downside, which would be freaking amazing. It'd actually make my day. So there we go. We're at 125.04. You can see it's starting to break down there. Again, the one area we're looking at right now is 124.75. 125 is definitely a stubborn area. You're going to see, a lot of support there, So, but if it can break down there, I feel confident we'll get, somewhere in the neighborhood of $1 coming back to us. And at that point, that would be a warranted one-to-one trade, because right now, we're basically 3-to-1, 4-to-1 risk to reward, which is not the way you want to do it. So it's bouncing off again, that 125, and that's what's got to flush out. And sometimes there's a ton of orders that have to flush out. And it's good. Don't get me wrong. You get that bounce back. We're just holding on to it right now. We're up, roughly $1,800, something like that. But if it flushes out, we'll get a nice move down. That's the truth of the matter. This video is longer than I expected it to be, but that's the game that you play. You don't know that how long the video is going to be. I could be wrong, and I don't care if I'm wrong. That's not it. You know what I'm saying? I know, positions that I'm playing, what I feel like should be right. So looking at the money, yeah, I'm looking at the money. Who isn't? You'd be an idiot to say that you don't care about money. But looking at this and saying, yeah, this is the position that I want to go, and this is the way I want to go. That's what it's all about. It has nothing to do about the dollar amount. So like I said, it keeps bouncing. I'm expecting it to go down there. I'm willing to, say, okay, fine. If a few more cents goes up, right now, then I'm going to bail out, because I'm not going to spend all day chasing after it. And I'll openly admit it wasn't a great trade. Even though I made money off of it, this was not a great trade in the least. Like I said, I bailed into it a tremendous amount. I put a ton of money into it without scaling into the trade. And scaling into the trade is, it's really the backbone to being able to trade properly. Money management and scaling in and out of trades. If you can't do that, you're never going to be successful at this. Whether you're doing with $5, 500,000, 5 million, it doesn't matter. If you can't scale in and out of a trade, you can't do this. Simple as that. You've got to learn, that I'm not going all in trying to make all my money in 2 seconds. Looking at this price right now, I'm up $1,500, 14, give or take. Okay, but had I scaled in properly, I'd be in so much. I probably would have scaled out of this trade by a ton of money already at this point. So right now it jumped up to 17. This is the last move I'm going to play. Either it goes down now, or if it goes the opposite way on me, I'm out. I feel that it touched 17. If it touches 18 again, I'm just going to buy and get out of here, because at this point I'm not going to wait around. There might be a lot more movement going on to this thing, which is fine with me. You know what I'm saying? I'll take it, and I'll run and take my money. But right now, you're seeing there's a tremendous amount of purchasing going on in that, off that 125 level. So we're getting close to it. We're at 13. A couple more cents. If it goes the other way, I'm gone. No two ways around it. I'm not going to sit here all day long. I'm profitable. I take the money and run. Simple as that. I'm not one to say, oh yeah, I got to squeeze any penny out of this. Now, if I was going to wait around, so you see, we're at 15, 14, 12. Okay. It's just hanging around. All right, let's see what we're going to do. And this week, I promise, I will definitely look at equipment. I was talking to a friend of mine who's has really a lot of equipment and stuff, and he says he's going to guide me to what's really good stuff out there. Because like I said, this was not my plan. My plan is just to, have fun with it. So we'll see what happens, and that's it. All right, here we go. So we're going to be out in 2 seconds. It's at 16. Oh, this sucks. Okay. Said if it touches 17, I'm gone. We're at 12, 11, 14, 15. It's getting there. So, I mean, it's right there. You could see where they're trying to hold it down, and you see right in that pinpoint level. So I'm 2 cents away from stopping out, which is fine with me. 1 cent. Ooh, there you go. I'm done. All right, I'm done with $9.95. Not the greatest trade in the world, but at this point, I'm not going to sit there and watch this thing turn around on me. Now, probably, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but probably this thing will actually, keep going up. But who knows, man? At this point, man, you know what? I made a few dollars, and there you go. Damn, that pisses me off. If this thing flushes out, yeah, oh my goodness, man. Look at that. What a jackass. Now you're at 6, 5. I made my stop at 17. I said if it was going to break 17, and it did. It went up as high as 19 that I was going to go, and that's what I did. I made $1,000. I left over $1,000 on the table if I'd gone there. But you've got to draw a line. I know I'm making money. I'm fine with that. My gut feeling is, like I said, I think it's going down. But do I chase after it now? That's something you can't tell. At this point, I said if it breaks 17, then which it did, it hit 17. I got out. Now it's down back below. Now I'm just actually seeing if this is going to really go against me, and I can feel like a loser. So truth be known, I probably should have left a few shares in there, but like I said, I'm shutting this off, and I'm going back to doing what I need to do for the day. I just want to see if it's going to break 125. That's the key. 125, 12, 14. One way or the other. I don't care which way it goes at this point. I'm not in it, So, come on. Come on. If it goes to 125.30, I'll be happy. If it goes to 124, I'll be upset. Nah, I won't be upset. You can't ever be upset about making money, And, truthfully, you can't be upset about losing money either. Money comes and money goes. It's just you have to know what's your pain tolerance. So every trade I get into, like I said, I'll be upfront about this. This was a horrible trade, what I did, okay? Any way you slice it, this was a stupid trade because the fact of the matter is that I should have been building that position up while it was going up against me. So, to lay down 8,800 shares, all my bullets in my gun at that point, I could have had my dollar cost average go up to the 50s or the 60s. And then, I would be 40, 50 cents in the money, $4,000 or $5,000 in the money. But I didn't do that, number one. And number two, it went against me hard and I held on to it. At one point, I think I was down $7,000, something like that. So this was not in any way, shape, or form a good trade. This was a lot of gambling involved. I'll be quite frank about that. But then again, it was a trade I decided I wanted to take at 11:30, 11:40, whatever time it was, just to get something up there, just to do something. But by the same token, all day long, you can find opportunities like this. All day long, you're going to find stocks out there that can make you an extra $50, $100, $75, depending on how much buying power you have. Like I said, if you're going in there with $5,000, you have to be smart about it because there's only certain firms out there that will give you leverage on $5,000. So, I know specifically certain firms they'll give you 5,000, and they'll give you up to 25 times your value, where you could trade stocks, not futures, not cryptos. You can do that, but to me, that's a waste of time, in my personal opinion. But if you have $5,000, normally, you're susceptible to PDT rule, which is pattern day trading, and that only allow you 3 in and out trades, in a week. And if that's what's going to happen, then you have to hit a home run every single time, which doesn't always work. You know what I'm saying? Whereas if you get the right firm, you know what I'm saying, and you're able to find that firm, and they give it to you, 25 times your value, you're sitting on $125,000 worth of buying power. That's the beauty of it. Now, $125,000 of buying power, your goal should always be 0.5% a day. That's it. Not more, not less. You know what I'm saying? If you can do 0.5% a day, all right, and I tell you, okay, on $125,000, you're going to make $600, let's just say. I'm not doing the math, but you're going to make $600. If that's what you're going to do at that point, that's $3,000 a week. If you do it right, you're going to have losses and stuff like that. But, $3,000, let's just say, you come out to $1,200 a week after all said and done. All right. That's $60,000 a year. You know what I'm saying? As long as you do it right and you really take the time to learn how to do it, and that's how I've always looked at it, So, that's one way of looking at it. Don't get greedy. Like I said, today, my profit was $1,000, $9.95. Is it great? Is it bad? No, it's not bad at all. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, to me, this is just, whatever it is. It's not my lifeblood, and it's not money that, I have to, pay my bills, or my electric gets turned off or something like that. So, that's a part of it that, I look at it, I observe it, and I'm happy with it. So here we are. Pretty much, I don't know what this is going to do, and it's driving me nuts right now. So the timestamp is 12:17. So I was on there, give or take a half an hour, 40 minutes, and I made $1,000. I can't really complain. This is broken out over 20 cents, 22 cents at the high. So it seems to be trending lower, but that doesn't mean anything. This could be where it captures back up again and then drops suddenly. But, that's why I stuck to 17. And I said, if I got out, I got out. I didn't jump back in. I didn't go chasing or anything like that, even though I could be wrong. At the same time, when it starts to go against you and you start chasing, sometimes you chase the wrong way. So here, 125.01. See, you can see the swings are starting to try to define which way it's going to go. And this is the part that's annoying. So I never said I wouldn't jump in, but if it does, if it breaks down 125, I might actually take another stab on this, just for the heck of it. All right. There was a lot of selling that was going on before, but it's holding steady at 125.07, 09. You know what? Not going to do it. Not going to do it. Now I'm just gambling. I'm literally just guessing. I think it's going to break down 125, but you know what? It's holding up steady. And, there are people with bigger bankrolls. There are firms out there with huger bankrolls that know more than I will ever know. And they position the direction they want this to go. So that's why when you're trading, trends are the best way to go. It's following that trend, taking a look at it. Like I said, my belief is that it will go lower, but you know what? I've believed in a lot of things and been wrong. So that's your trading lesson for today, and it keeps suckering me in because now it went to 05, So right now it's 12:19. I hope you enjoyed the video. All right. Have a good day.